We always want to try to move the door first, and we want to cut the door second. We want to work on the length of the door first, so that's the first thing we're looking for. So here we go. I already have a problem. So when I go to set the hinge on there, I can't even get it on. The hinge on the door is higher than the hinge on the jamb. My door is simply too tall. It won't even fit in the doorway. When we're adjusting the length of the door, we want to cut the bottom of the door. How much do I have to cut here? I'm about 1/4 inch too high. So I'm going to cut 3/8 of an inch off the bottom of the door because I don't want it to be exact. I need to have a little wiggle room. So now we've got the bottom of our door cut. We can feel we have enough space and just get that hinge in enough to hold it. I'm going to move around to the other side and put one screw in the middle hinge and one screw in the bottom hinge just to hold the door in place. Now that we've got it in, once again, we're going to look at the top and bottom and just get it fit first. Because if you have to shape the top of a door, that's the most critical thing. I mean, right here it looks great, but look at that. Look how awful that is. Maybe you had to shape the top of the door and you screwed it up, or maybe the jamb is just wonky. You have to get the top of the door fixed so that it fits first. So here's how we fix this top part. You're gonna check this gap. See that, how big that gap is? That's 1/4 inch. So we're gonna mark 1/4 inch there. So what we're going to do is draw a line from there all the way over to here, and then we're just going to plane that off. And then that whole top will be 1/4 inch, and then we can move the door up. Want to make sure we have the space to do that. So before you cut the top of a door, you want to check and make sure you have room. See, here the door is rubbing against the carpet. So we have plenty of room to move this thing up. So I took the door outside and I planed that line. Now you see we have a nice even gap up there. Now, since this is 1/4 inch, we want an 1/8 inch gap. We have to move the door up an 1/8 inch. If we're gonna move the hinge on the jamb, we wanna move that hinge up an 1/8 inch. If we're gonna move the hinge on the door, we're gonna move that hinge down an 1/8 inch. I always choose the one that will look the best. See, the hinges on the jamb, they're nice and clean, they're all painted, they're in good position, but we had to plane the side of our door so it's already cut up anyway and it's going to need to be painted. So I would rather move the hinge on the door. So we're going to move this hinge down an 1/8 inch, would be right here where this cutout is. Okay, now I've got the bottom hinge back in and the middle hinge, and once again, just one screw. Let's check. Now let's look at our top gap. You might not always get them perfect. They don't have to be, but they have to look good. They have to look even. Because we raised the door up, we have enough room for the door to open and close. That has to move freely. Now, let's imagine you got your top hinge on, and now you try to move the door. It barely moves. You don't want to leave a door like that. It's okay to force it in there to test fit. You want to have about 1/4 inch. See how if I just drop my pencil right there on the carpet, I can just go like that. If I just cut off that line, door's gonna fit perfectly. But open the door the whole way, because sometimes you can get a high spot in the floor. It could be high back there, it could be high right here. You can't have that door rub in any place. What I like to do is find the highest spot on the floor and then make sure the door is 1/4 inch above that.